So you clicked on the link because you're thinking about getting into a second career in real estate or making the move to a career in real estate. Well, stay tuned. Laurie and I were recently at a sprint event and we ran into and met somebody that has done just this, just like we did, but he was in law enforcement, has an incredible story and an incredible program set up to help people in the same situation, making that career change. And so stay tuned. You aren't going to want to miss what Chris Fisher has to offer.
Hey, Just Finance Agents, Second Career Agents, it's Laurie and Kalene here, and we are putting on a ton of new content this year all about becoming a real estate agent, whether it's, you're getting into it as a second career or you're currently in it and want to jumpstart your business to that next level. Make sure you hit that subscribe button or that bell as we go over a ton of new information, how we grew our business threefold this year alone. So if you are new and you have questions about becoming a real estate agent, we help agents all the time make that leap into that second career. We help pay for your classes. So give us a call or a text anytime, 719-639-3393. Hey everyone, it's Laurie and Kalene here today. And today we have a very special guest on our Just Finance Agent Second Career podcast show. And we have Chris Fisher with. So Chris, welcome to the show. We are so happy to have you with us today.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Right. So Kalene, like Kalene and I, you really specialize in bringing on agents or helping to support agents who are possibly looking at, getting into real estate as a second career. And you have a great project going called the 10-7 project. And so you just want to give us a little bit of overview of that? That would be fabulous.
Yeah, sure. So, in my previous life, I was a law enforcement officer. That's what I did most of my adult life before I was injured and couldn't do it anymore. So I went into real estate about 6 years ago, and I've had a little bit of success doing it. And with everything that's going on in the world, especially with law enforcement officers, I just kind of wanted to do something to kind of give back to that community because it gave me a lot over a lot of years. So we started, me and my partner, Mike Edwards, who most Facebook people would know as Mike the Cop on Facebook. We went through and Mike the Cop. Yeah. So we went through and created this thing we call the 10-7 project, where we're helping cops transition into real estate agents. Now there's three different kind of prongs to that, right? The first one being those guys who are working, 60 hours, a week, 70 hours a week, pulling lots and lots of overtime to make ends meet.
Right.
We want to show those guys a better, more efficient way to make money so that they can spend more time with their families, more time doing things they enjoy. And it's really important to us. Like, things that a lot of people don't know is the life expectancy of a police officer is 55 years old. The general population is 78, right? So to be
because
a cop,
of the risk on the job, or
no, because the risk on the job, most cops don't get killed on the job, right? So it's the mental strain, it's the emotional strain, it's the physiological effects of shift work. There's a lot of things that go into it, but
interesting.
Cops are dying 23 years younger than the general population.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
And a lot of it has to do with them being overworked. So one of the things that we want to do is show them a better way to make that extra money to make ends meet. And, we teach them how to manage their time effectively enough where they can do both. They can have two full-time jobs. They can work as a real estate agent and pour everything into that, and also work their day job as a police officer. Or, we're also now accepting firefighters, first responders, EMS workers, and military veterans. Now that's the first prong. The second prong are the people who are getting close to retirement and they need a second income, because police in general, their retirements are decent as far as benefits go, but the money aspect of it is not great in most states. So they usually have to take a second job to make ends meet once they retire. So we want to give them the ability to step into real estate and produce a high income so that they can, work real estate for a few years and then step out of it and actually fully retire and live the life they wanted to live. And then the third part of it is doing those guys who just want to get out of the job. They
They're
don't
done.
want to do it anymore. So we want to show them how to make that transition, because cops have this inherent belief that the only thing you are is a cop and you could never do anything else. And it's complete nonsense, right? Like cops pick up so many skills, and same thing with firefighters and teachers too, right? Their communication skills that they develop over years and years and years of dealing with a lot of people, a large number of people. Those communication skills are so invaluable in real estate, and it's something you can't be just like, you can't read it in a textbook and learn how to talk to people. It's something that takes years and years and years of practice.
Kalene and I always say that like teachers make the best agents sometimes because they have to manage all those people. And I have a master's in clinical psychology, and Kalene jokes I probably use it now more in real estate than I did working in the schools, right? So we get that.
Sure.
Yeah.
I do think sometimes it's a confidence, or when somebody's been doing something for so long, if they think about changing up the entire scope of what they do every day, it's very intimidating. So having a program like what you guys have, the 10-7 project, to me, that's just invaluable to just give people the opportunity, whether they want it now, later, or, any of those three prongs you were talking about. Super cool that you came up with something to help people in that profession and give them options.
Yeah, I think people get, and maybe like your opinion on it too, but I think, because Kalene and I help a lot of educators and military professionals make that move into real estate. And I think a lot of them don't realize opportunities out there. I know for me, for the longest time, I was like, I was kind of burnt out. I knew I wanted something, to support my family more. I was a little frustrated with, the profession, but I didn't know what that would be unless I would go back to school for years. And I didn't want to do that. I mean, I had my kids and my income, and like, I just didn't want to make that
a little
commitment to going back to 3 years of schooling. So I think that just showing and helping people understand that, you can do both for a while. Ideally, it's best to be full-time in the profession, but definitely something you can do while you're still in a career and not take away too much time from your family.
Oh, absolutely. And I was never an educator, but my entire family was. So I think I can kind of speak to that educator mentality on a certain level. And it's a lot like cops, right? Like, so you're told all through school and, all through your career that being a teacher or being a cop is your identity. It's who you are, right? And that's complete nonsense. We got to get away from that, right? We got to teach people that your job is what you do, even if you love it, even if you're great at it, even if it's the best thing that ever happened to you. It's still it's what you do. It's not who you are, and that's the biggest hurdle we have to overcome in the 10-7 project with teaching these guys. Is you're more than a cop. You're a father, you're a husband, you're a mother, you're a you're a teacher. There's a lot of different things and a lot of different hats that people wear throughout the course of their life, and real estate agent can be one of those hats that you're uniquely suited for because of the experience you have.
As far as a second gig too, I think real estate is just such a perfect kind of segue job. Like you said, it's hard to go from that steady paycheck and you think, oh my gosh, I'm totally commission based, but it really is something logistically with the right tools and time management that you're providing that you can make that move, make sure you like the profession more than, the grass is always greener until you are like in the trenches. And then you're like, well, did I make a right decision or not? But you can really get the feeling for it. Like real estate, you just jump right in, you do have to tackle that, getting your actual license. But then when it comes down to it, you just, get after it and do what you can to make that first sale. It's just, I think sometimes also in education and with cops, like if you were to ask a cop, a first responder, an educator, of course, why they do their job, it's about doing better for people. And I think what people don't realize is even in real estate, we also get to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think, and I think people think of realtors as like used car salesmen, is kind of what I always say. But, and I think, as a teacher and a cop, you always want to like, you're known for, giving back to your community and, oh, you are such a good Samaritan. Like, it's kind of like that, like, and I'm like, no, I get it. I like that piece of it, but I also, want to be professional and support my family. But Kalene and I always talk about all the time is we give back more now. I feel as a real estate agent, people cry when they get their first home. That's always a great feeling, or just us able to monetarily support teachers. Like Kalene and I just supported a whole classroom
of supplies.
What I want to call them supplies. And I just did a wounded vet donated and met her whole birthday campaign she had or whatever. But I just love people to do that now, which I don't think I was able to do in education.
Well, and you have the, to me, going into real estate versus just that job that you have to meet those hours each week, you really can get in touch with yourself and see creatively what really means what to you, like that whole identity piece that you were speaking to. It is kind of a time where you can start reflecting on what your real goals are and what really is true to your heart and where you want to put support out there. And I do think as a realtor, you have to figure out your time management pretty quick to be successful. And so once you have that down, you, like Laurie said, as far as the paycheck goes, great. Now, what else do you want to do to go ahead and support those causes that are near and dear to your heart? So
do you feel like you've been able to give back quite a bit, be getting into real estate?
Oh yeah. It's been incredible. Like, to go from a guy who never made more than $60,000 in a year in his entire life to somebody that's making, multiple six figures now, like the income potential in real estate is literally unlimited. Like you can make as much money as you're willing to work for.
Right. You work and you get the money for it instead of more work. Right. That's always my
thing. That's another thing we talk about a lot in the 10-7 project is I'm gonna blow your mind, right? If you work harder, you make more money. You don't get more work to do. You make more money.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's what we
always hate that.
When Laurie and I were at the schools, we, would be creative and do something, that would appeal to the kids. And then the principals would be like, great job. Now, can you do it for this guy too?
Right.
It's like,
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Give us a Chris story. So how did you get into real estate eventually? Like, how did you make that move?
Yeah. So first I want to preface this by saying this is not a sad story, even though for some people, when I tell it, they're like, oh my God, but it's not a sad story. This is the best thing that ever happened to me.
Right.
But long story short, I went through a lot of changes in life. Came out to Arizona on vacation one day, and a friend that brought me out here was like, oh, there's this girl I want you to meet. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to meet a girl that's, 2,000 miles away. Sounds great, whatever. Well, next thing you know, I'm moving to Arizona, and I had every intention of being a police officer in Arizona. I was going through the hiring process with several departments. And then as I was working out my 2-week notice, the chief of police came to me and he said, Chris, I really need you for 2 more weeks. Can you just stay with me through the 4th of July? And I was like, you know what? I've been with you guys for 10 years. You've been good to me. Sure. I'll stay an extra 2 weeks.
Right.
2 days into that 2-week period, a kid pulled up, and long story short, he was a 24, 25-year-old kid that was trying to do really bad things with 14-year-old girls, trying to pick them up. Long story short, I ended up having to break his window. When I broke his window, he floored it. My wrist got caught. It tore a bunch of ligaments in my arm, and my law enforcement career was over. So,
oh wow,
it was like,
yeah,
what am I going to do? Now, I didn't find out right that day that my career was over. Yeah, I went and finished out my 2-week notice, and then moved to Arizona, and I was having problems with my wrist and nobody could figure out why. And then I went to see a specialist, and he was like, oh, you're done. Like, this is all that's happened. We got to do reconstructive surgery. It was a big thing. And then, so I found out like the end of September that I was done. And by, I think the 2nd or 3rd of October, I was enrolled in real estate school, did a 9-day crash course, had my license within 15 days.
Oh, wow.
And
you
was
were
selling
fast.
real estate.
Look at you.
Yeah.
15 days?
Yeah.
I think that's the fastest I've ever heard. I've heard of a month, but 15 is pretty good, Chris.
Yeah. Well, it was pretty brutal, and I don't recommend it, but I got it done.
Yeah. What do you think of the career of real estate? I know now do you do real estate full time? Do you produce still, or are you more on the back end? Are you a broker? Where's your
No,
niche?
I still work full time with clients. I've been very lucky. I'm pretty selective with my clients. I only work with people I like and trust. I'm a completely referral based realtor.
Yeah.
So, I don't do like internet leads. I don't, there's no Zillow leads or anything like that. I don't call anybody. I told when I got Mike, my partner in the 10-7 project, when I got him into real estate a few years ago, I said, listen, man, you're not going to believe this, but my entire job is to go out and drink with Fritz. Like, that's it. And just have a good time. Right.
It's a good
And
job.
he's like, no way.
Yeah.
And he did it. And yeah. So I make friends with people. I build relationships. I nurture those relationships, and those people help me find business. And that's how I do it.
I almost think people that start out with that second career in a way have a little bit of a head start, because you're already networked with a group of people that if all you do is real estate and you're only around realtors and whatnot, it's so important as a realtor to be involved in your community in different ways, whether it's like on the baseball bench, talking to parents, or going and having beers with your buddies or whatever it is. That really is kind of the cornerstone of your people.
Yeah, we always tell educators who join us, they're like, how are we going to start? We don't even have a client. We're like, look at all the contacts you have, all your students who, Kalene and I laugh, our students are old enough to buy houses now. And, and all
one of them's a realtor too.
Yeah, one of them. Oh yeah, she is. And so, I mean, and all the contacts from staff and faculty, like you have as a second career agent, a nice CRM, sphere of influence already built into you starting your second career.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was really jealous of all those folks. I didn't have that because I moved to Arizona right before I became a real estate agent.
You moved states. Yeah.
I had 5 numbers in my phone in Arizona when I got here. But
so have you always been with EXP?
No. I started with Keller Williams. And I would say that kind of ended a little poorly, but and then I went with an indie brokerage with Chuck and Angela Fazio, who are pretty well known in the EXP circles. But I was with them for 4 years, and then when they brought their brokerage over, I came with them to EXP. But I've been with EXP for about a year now.
Yeah. And what do you love it? And what makes you love it?
Yeah, I really do love it. And it's so after having the experience with the big brokerage and the boutique brokerage, which boutique, there's 900 agents at Revelation Real Estate, so it's not small. But the experience that I had is like certain people are helpful, but there was never like an effort to make you better, right? Like people don't want to train their competition in other brokerages, but EXP is just not like that. Yeah. I can call anybody in the organization. I sat down at the sprint event, I sat down next to Brent Gove, and he's like giving me some tips, and we're having some conversations, and Gene Frederick is sitting beside me and we're having conversations. And then, I go talk to people in my market and they're like, oh, this is what I'm doing that's working. Why don't you try that? It's just so everybody wants everybody to win because everybody makes money when everybody wins.
I think, coming from another agent at the very beginning, like you would hear people brag about EXP and say stuff like that. And you really don't understand the support you have until you get into it. Laurie 100%. And I, our entire organization has done nothing but literally support us monetarily at certain points, putting people in front of us to grow our business.
They just texted us this morning and said, hey, we're going to get you in contact with this huge podcast. I mean, always, and it's amazing. We met Chris at the Sprint event. And just these connections we make. Yeah.
And we are not networkers, like
natural. No,
that is not our thing to go to those events, but it is, I mean, iron sharpens iron. Somebody had said that even at the event. It's so true. Making these connections to really reach out beyond that sphere that you are trying to build eternally with real estate. Look, we have a great connection now over in Arizona. And specifically, if we have somebody that we come across that needs that help, that we can't touch them as far as being a firefighter, or we have a ton of military here in Colorado Springs. What a great connection. And bit of information that we can give them, even just your contact, to give them
Sure.
an option, and that's really what it's all about, is changing people's lives at the end of it.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I remember I met Krista and I was like, Chris, are you on YouTube yet?
I was like, leave Chris alone.
I was like, Chris, you would be great at YouTube. And so now my goal is 3 weeks later, you're going to be on YouTube now.
She was like,
Chris.
we need to call Chris.
I know. I'm like, Chris is.
Yeah, I've got to start the YouTube channel. I've been talking about it for a couple of years now. So it's one of those things that I need to do.
Yeah. Peer pressure is the best, especially in real estate, right? Well, Chris, it was super nice chatting with you. What's the best way, if someone wants to get in contact with you, that they should reach out to you?
Yeah, they can just email me at chris@chrisfisher.com, or, if they're more interested in like the 10-7 project stuff, just the word 10, the number 7 project.com. It's pretty simple.
Perfect. Well, you're doing some great things, and we're happy that we got you on with us. I feel super honored that you're here. So we'll be in touch, and thanks again for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Chris.